All right, hey there. I'm gonna try this with a different sound system. It's raining here, and I have a tin roof on my man cave / studio / workshop. So over the weekend, I had a couple of fairly interesting conversations on Facebook with some of my more left-leaning friends about guns and gun control, and one of the things that came up that I realized is just not talked about in a realistic way, in an honest way, is the emotion of gun ownership and the emotion of particularly concealed carry. I shared on my other channel, I shared this story of how I went from being a sort of tepid supporter of the Second Amendment for political reasons to a, vocal advocate for the virtues of an armed society. So if you're interested, I'll try to put a link in the description, although I'm probably going to upload this from my phone, so it may take a couple days for me to get around to putting the link in there. So I want to sort of share my take on what it feels like to become a gun owner, in a way that's honest. That's not the either the Hollywood story of paranoia and aggression, or the typical macho posturing that you'll get from a lot of people on the pro-gun side. So when you first take the step to become a gun owner, you're probably, what I recommend, don't just go to the gun store and buy a gun. Find a friend, somebody who's been around guns, maybe you've never talked about it before. Go to the range and try it. That first experience is going to be really scary. One of the things that people don't realize is how loud they are. A gun is probably the loudest thing you will ever hear, unless you work in certain industrial environments. A gun is the loudest thing you'll ever hear, and that rocks people a lot of times. So you go in with this kind of fear and nervousness and insecurity, I guess, and then you fire that gun. It's loud, it's scary. Then you feel this sense of power, like just like slamming on the gas of a muscle car, kind of, empowerment. But almost, it's not. It's like, adrenaline rush empowerment is the first thing you feel, and I think that's that's what a lot of people think is all it is, and like they'll stop there mentally. And so they'll see us advocating for guns and gun rights, and they think it's because we're addicted to that sense of power. I got it. But if you keep going, if you keep shooting, and you keep handling that gun, eventually it may take a little while, but something's going to sink in and something's going to click. I've seen it happen on the second shot for people. And I've also seen people that it took a couple trips to the range for it to quite get there. But that sense of, muscular empowerment gives way to what I would call more of a reverent empowerment, more of a social empowerment, that, suddenly you realize, wow, this is real. This is a power that people have. This is a power that I have now that I have to control, that I have to, a lot of people don't realize how dangerous they are, most of the time. And until you have an experience where that dangerous part of you comes out, most people don't realize that they have that potential, and shooting a gun is one of those things that can trigger that in you, and suddenly you realize, wow, I can be dangerous, and there's a sense of responsibility and a sense of duty and a sense of sense of maturity, I guess. I don't know exactly how to describe it, but it's really that sense that of realizing your own power and your own responsibility in that, and it's a good feeling because it is empowerment, but it's positive empowerment. It's good empowerment. It's I have the ability to be independent. I don't have to be fearful or nervous. I've got this, that kind of empowerment. And that's a really good thing. That's a good thing for people to have. And gun ownership will give that to you. And then if you go beyond that to concealed carry, you'll extend that sense as well. That sense of responsible empowerment, but it goes beyond that first sense of, oh wow, I have this, I've got to understand myself better. I've got to, learn to control myself better. I've got to take this responsibility and hold it, and it extends that into every day, every moment of your life. And what I noticed the most wasn't a specific feeling that came from carrying that gun with me. At first you're going to be nervous because you've never done this before. You're worried people will see it and freak out. You've all heard horror stories. If you go down this road, you'll meet people who will tell you horror stories about people seeing your gun and freaking out, and so you're going to be nervous at first. Once you get over the being nervous about it, what struck me wasn't what I felt, but what I stopped feeling. From the time we're kids, our parents are telling us, don't talk to strangers, don't take these risks. People can be dangerous. People can be a risk, and that's true. Everybody can be dangerous. Even that, sweet little old lady can be dangerous, and you can be dangerous, and everybody else can be dangerous. And so your whole life, and if you stop and think about it, maybe you can recognize it. But whenever you're out among people, there's a system running in the back of your head that's assessing threats and, recognizing the risks that are involved in your daily life. And, should I help that homeless guy? Well, he might attack me. He might, this, that, and the other thing. Those are all, you're not necessarily thinking it, but it's being processed in your subconscious. And you feel that sense of, that sense of a barrier. You're putting this barrier up of protection. And that because you have that subconscious recognition that people could be a threat. So you go around in life with this barrier that you can't, you don't want people to get too close because they can be dangerous. Once carrying a gun becomes part of your lifestyle, that goes away. You're no longer thinking about that, even subconsciously. It takes a while for it to sink in, but you're not subconsciously processing who could be a threat, how could this situation go badly, what am I going to do if it does, how much is it going to hurt, that kind of thing that would normally be processing subconsciously, that goes away, and all that's left is sort of awareness. So I feel more aware. I feel more awake and more alive than I did before, because partially that barrier's gone. I'm not worried about other people. They're just, I don't have to process any of that potential for conflict in the back of my head, because I'm ready. I'm ready for a conflict. If a conflict happens, it's really, I mean, it's a big deal, but I'm ready for it. I'm prepared for it. I'm confident that I can at least have, reasonable chance. And it's really freeing, and it's freeing in a way that's hard to describe until you experience it, because you've probably never experienced life without that feeling in the back of your head. And when that disappears, suddenly you're closer to the world, you're closer to other people, because it doesn't matter if they're a threat. And you can be more aware of your surroundings. You can hear the birds singing better. You can smell somebody's perfume better. You can be friendlier. You can be calmer. It's a really powerful thing, and it's not a sense of, ooh, I'm going to get them before they get me. People talk like that because they're just being macho. That's not what it feels like. You're not nervous. You're not paranoid. You're not thinking about what could go wrong, because for the first time in your life, it doesn't matter. You're actually, for the first time, you're not thinking about those things, even subconsciously. And you can just be free to be you in public with other people without those barriers. So I hope that helps you understand where we're coming from. If you are one of those sort of liberal folks, actually, I'm liberal. One of those left-leaning folks who don't like guns and think we're all crazy and looking for a fight. We're not. We are looking for a better connection to the world, and concealed carry affords that. It offers that. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you stayed to listen this long. And if you have any questions, comment, message me, whatever. I love to help people down this road. I love to help people get to a place where they can feel that themselves. And so I'm happy for the opportunity. If you have any questions or comments, or want to try it, want to see what that feels like. Yeah. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.